This week's got me rubbing my head. It was an ugly one for atheists in a lot of ways. Louisiana, always in the running for the stupidest state, is at it again, having passed a law requiring schools to display "In God We Trust" on the wall of the public school. It's not really a surprise from Louisiana. Again, as I said, they're always in the running. A state that can't take care of real problems, can't really even try to take care of real problems, but we're worried about praying and enforcing Christianity on everybody in an attempt to homogenize the way that people don't think in Louisiana. Instead of teaching them facts, instead of teaching them science, instead of worrying about how to teach them how to drag themselves up out of the mud huts and wooden shacks that they still live in, a lot of folk in Louisiana, without good clean water to drink and without proper protection from the storms which ravage the coast and have no buffer zone because we've done immeasurable damage through our faulty agriculture practices in America, and not down there, but in the heartland where we do all the farming, and then all the goo goes down there. And by goo, I mean chemical runoff, destroying the swamps, destroying the ecosystem that was, in fact, a natural barrier from storms off the Gulf to the inland community. All that's gone now, and so the storms go unchecked. They can't deal with that. They got to deal with making sure that people think like a Christian in a state where a lot of people, just like everywhere, are no longer Christian. And I'm baffled continuously at how the numbers of the non-religious continue to rise, and yet the influence of the religious in society in general and politics in particular also continues to rise. What the fuck is up with that? Atheist people need to get out and run for office, all right? Do it. Young atheists run for office. Otherwise, they're going to keep on letting the kind of fools stay in charge who think that religion's going to help when we have school shootings to deal with. But more God in the class. We already have more God. We already have more guns. I'm not sure more God's going to help in the classroom, all right? Let's deal with the real problems in a humanistic way and get our children safe in schools. But no, instead of that, they got to dull religion on us. Distressing messages coming across to the Atheist Underground page. Find it on Facebook. Message us with your stories of woe. A school teacher in Texas informs that unless you're a Christian teacher in Texas, you can't hardly keep a job. She did the right thing, stood up for someone close to her, which action outed her publicly as an atheist or a non-religious person, someone who's not on board with the agenda, is not drinking the Kool-Aid, and lost her job. And tells us that if you're in Texas and they sniff that out about you, you just can't get a job in the public school. And they're just open about it, telling people that if we love Jesus around here, and if you don't, then maybe you don't belong. Yeah, Texas, also always in the running for the stupidest state, and it's hard to argue with them because they're the biggest one, almost the biggest one, obviously, but they're the biggest of the stupid states. So if everything is bigger in Texas, then stupid is also bigger. And the way that they manipulate textbooks, the way that they enforce Christianity, and a ridiculous fascist conservatism and protectionist policy on themselves and on the country at large is well known. There's some great warriors in Texas, but if you're an atheist in Texas and you put up with this, you live with this without saying something, you're an asshat too. It's time to fight this kind of crap before the Handmaid's Tale and the Blitz, the Christian Blitz or whatever the fuck it's called. Do you remember what that thing's called? Producer man. There's some Illuminati style bizarre conspiracy among the entitled Christians in politics to steer this country towards an actual theocracy. In a lot of ways, it seems to me like it's a de facto theocracy, and luckily it's really not. I mean, we do have a lot of things that go our way in terms of what's right with the law. Still, I don't want to cry needlessly because we're not snowflakes. And a lot of things the ACLU fights for every day have a direct bearing on separation of church and state issues that are constantly being upheld in the right direction. So kudos to all of those people. But if you don't think that there's an active effort underfoot to change that, to get to the point where we are a country that can openly discriminate against homosexuals again, that we are a country who can openly practice bigotry and prejudice and piss off our friends around the world, is that the kind of country we want to be? Where you piss off, it's not good enough for President Fuckwit that we have to antagonize our enemies, but we have to actually piss off our closest allies and our best friends too. Send me your votes for stupidest state. I got Louisiana and Texas head to head, neck and neck right now, going down the home stretch. It's going to be hard to beat either one of those off of the podium, but we do have others. We got Indiana; they're always right there, and Kentucky. Ooh, as long as that Creation Museum is there, sucking away your tax dollars, they're always in the running. So let's hear it. What's the stupidest state? And again, I hope this offends slightly less people than I know it will. But everybody in Texas and Louisiana right now are stupid. Unless you're fighting this actively, and I know the ones that are, some of you, not all of you. I want to hear from the ones that are. But unless you're Arnra and some few people down there, Noel, George, and there's a million to name, I know. Not trying to offend them, but everybody else, if you're not fighting it, you're a dick. And if you're part of it, you're worse than a dick. You're a subhuman. You need to go. You're not part of the future, and you're all gonna go away and dry up sooner or later anyway. So you may as well face it. All right, your time is done there, Huckabee. Bye.